If you want to be an elite listing agent, it starts with having an outstanding listing presentation. And that listing presentation needs to build trust, demonstrate expertise, and allow you to confidently ask for the listing without sounding pushy. And if you're wondering how to create a listing presentation to do that, I've got it in today's episode. So when you're putting a listing presentation script together, something that you want to do when you're sitting down in someone's living room, right? You're trying to get them to list their house with you. So I always say there's a process to this. First step of that process is your welcome, your connection, right? Figure out, is there a personal connection that you have with this seller? You know, this is the first time they're selling a house, or maybe it's an estate and they're selling a grandparent's house or whatever it is. Listen to their story, build that connection. Once you have that done, the number one thing that you have to do, I think the big mistake realtors make is when they go on these listing presentations, they want to get there and they want to show them their marketing material. They want to show them their listing packet. They want to tell them all the great things they're going to do. And there's one thing that they don't do. They don't ask the person why they're selling their house, right? And it sounds like such an obvious thing to do, but how else can you do the best job possible for someone if you don't even understand what their motivation and what their goals are, right? So you have to figure out, look, why are you selling this house? What is your motivation? And that can take some time. Listen carefully, take notes, and that's going to allow you to figure out what you can do to properly help them achieve those goals. Now look, after that, you got to give them some knowledge, right? Once you understand why they're selling, you have to be able to explain the market and the expectations that are done. This is the time where those visual aids come into play, right? So whether it's, other houses in the neighborhood that have sold that are similar to theirs, what your marketing plan is going to be, whatever that is, this is where that starts. And when it comes to the marketing plan, there's a couple things that I think you have to do, all right? First and foremost, don't tell people what you're going to do for them. Show them what you're going to do. Hopefully you have a sample listing video, right? Because at this point, if you want to differentiate yourself from other realtors in the market, it starts with video. You should have a great listing video of previous houses that you've sold. Show the walkthrough. If it required drone video, whatever it may be, that's the time you bring that out. Your social media plan. This has to come out. You should show, what do I do on social media? How do I advertise your home? Is there, maybe you're someone that sends mailers, right? Like a just listed postcard in the neighborhood. All of these things are things that you want to come out with your marketing plan, all right? Are you going to do an open house? What's your plan for the open house? These are the things that you want to bring on a great listing presentation. You have to have a great pricing strategy, all right? If you want, the number one reason I think that houses stay on the market for too long right now is they're not priced correctly. So, and what's funny is it's one of the biggest concerns people have. What do you think I can get for this house? What would you list this house for? And it's at this time when I always tell my clients, I can only make recommendations, right? It's your house. You're going to be the person that determines the price. But let me explain to you why I would list it at whatever price I would recommend to them, right? So when it comes to pricing strategy, there's two things that I like to talk about. I like to talk about competition, and I like to talk about negotiation, because a lot of times people think I'll start high because it leaves me room to negotiate. But when you think about that, you're already starting to create downward momentum in your pricing. I think you need to price a house at a point where you give yourself the best opportunity to create competition for that house. Because if you're lucky enough to have multiple buyers interested in the house and they're willing to compete for it, the price is going up, not coming down. So price your house at a point where you can create a competition and not a negotiation. After you have your pricing strategy explained, you want to walk through the process of selling a home. Look, this is how it goes, all right? Once we sign this contract, I'm going to get my photographer in here, my videographer in here. We're going to get this house listed. We're going to list it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. We're going to have an open house that first weekend. We're going to start taking showings. If we get offers, we'll discuss them. Once you accept an offer, we're going to start talking about timeline as far as getting your stuff packed, getting the house cleared out. You have to have a plan, and you have to let people know that when it comes to the process, you'll be there for them every step of the way, even after an offer is accepted. And then you should be able to confidently close. Hey, based on what I told you today, how soon can we get this process started? When can we get the contract signed? When can I tell my photographer and videographer we're able to come out and get this done? Because if you've made a great listing presentation, you have to ask for the business. You can't just walk out and say, all right, well, that's what I can do for you. Call me if you're interested. I think that listing presentation is the very first opportunity you get to show your negotiation skills. Hey, after what we talked about today, is there a reason why you wouldn't list your property with me? And if they can't think of anything, if they say, no, I don't think so, great. I brought the contract with me. Can we get it signed now? Right? Because if you make a great presentation, you're supposed to ask for the business. It's just common sense. And if you're not able to get that contract signed, you have to follow up after that meeting, okay? And when I say follow up, I mean that night. All right. Shoot them a message. Hey, thanks so much for letting me come out and see the house and explain what I could do to get it sold. When will you be making a decision? How soon can I get started putting my team together to get your house on the market? Whatever it may be, right? And then after that, you got to follow up the next day. And quite frankly, you have to follow up until they tell you to stop. Until they tell you that they're listing with someone else, that you didn't get the listing, you should be following up daily, because that shows you want the listing. That shows you have the tenacity and the ability to market their house aggressively, negotiate the best offer for them. And if you could do that effectively, I think what you're going to find is that you're going to win a lot of listings in any market. So if you want to be a great listing agent, it starts with a great listing presentation. If you want to see my outline for putting a listing presentation together, shoot me a message and I'll send it to you for free. Thanks for joining us for today's episode, everybody. If you want to hear more content, follow us at Real Estate Right Now Pod on YouTube. Once you're there, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. And if you want to follow me directly, check me out. It's Dave Wychak at Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, all the socials that you're already using.